I didn't expect an essay. I didn't want a public reckoning. I just wanted her to call me. But instead, she posted a story. Soft pink background. Blocky white text. Something about accountability and unlearning. 3 slides. 2 typos. 1 vague mention of a dynamic that harmed someone I care about deeply. And I thought, was that supposed to be me? It's the not knowing that ruins you. Not the silence. The shape of the silence. Like when someone leaves a chair pulled out, and you don't know if they're coming back, or if that seat was never for you. We met in a basement. Literally. Women's circle. Pre-pandemic. There were tea lights. Floor cushions. Some girl crying about her father's affair. And her voice. Her voice. Cut through it all like clarity. I don't even remember what she said. Something about false forgiveness. Something about softness as self-erasure. But I remember how it felt. Like finally, someone else spoke the same emotional dialect. Anger with cadence. Grief with grammar. We weren't instant. But we were steady. Like building something sacred out of borrowed furniture. Voice notes about group politics. Screenshot dissections. Checking in after meetings when someone said something subtly off. We made each other braver. Or at least louder. She called me her sister once. Not metaphorically. Like really. Said, I think you're the person who actually sees me. I believed her. Which is embarrassing now. The unraveling started quiet. As it always does. She got close with another organizer. Kay, I think. They started doing joint posts. Referring to each other as accountability buddies. They'd go live together. Talk about rupture and repair and recentering. And slowly, I became the example. Not by name, but by outline. She'd say things like, sometimes harm hides inside old friendships. Or, it's not always safe to explain your healing. And I knew. That was me. I did fuck up. I'll say that. I got defensive during a meeting. Cut her off mid-thought. Said something about urgency. That she later said felt extractive. Like I wanted her voice. But not her process. I apologized. Messily. But sincerely. I said, I want to do better and I'm sorry I made you feel that way. She said she needed space. I gave it. But space turned to silence. And silence turned to shape-shifting online posts. And that's where we stayed. The story post came weeks later. After one of her newer friends got called out publicly. And everyone started making statements. Hers felt rehearsed. But I read it. All 3 slides. Twice. My throat got tight around the second slide. Where she wrote, sometimes we don't notice how our patterns affect those closest to us. Until they step back in pain. And I wanted to scream. I didn't step back. You left. What gutted me wasn't that she didn't name me. It's that she got all the credit for healing. While I sat there, still bleeding, people sent her heart emojis. Thank you for sharing messages. This is what growth looks like, comments. No one texted me. No one asked what happened. They just assumed it was mutual. Or worse, that I was the one who couldn't handle the truth. I stopped going to meetings. Couldn't stand the way people looked at me. Or worse, didn't look at me. Stopped posting. Muted her stories. Unfollowed her alt. Maya noticed. Of course she did. Maya always notices. She asked me, are you okay? I said, just tired. Which wasn't a lie. But wasn't the truth either. The hardest part is how much I still miss her. Not the curated version. Not the one who makes aesthetic slides about accountability. But the girl who once held my hand under the table. When I said something too raw. And whispered. I've felt that too. The one who sent me a playlist called Angry Girl Autumn. When my ex ghosted me. And told me, we're not the problem, we're the proof. I think about calling her sometimes. just to ask, was that for me? But I already know. It wasn't. It was for the crowd. For the record. For the image of someone who always comes out the other side. Wiser. Braver. Cleansed. I wrote my own apology once. Never posted it. Just opened my notes app and typed until my hands hurt. It started. I wish I could go back to the moment before it all felt like performance. And ended. I still love you. Just not like this. She poured the wine at our last dinner. 3 weeks before the meeting. Held the bottle with one hand. Tilted it like she was painting something. Filled everyone's glass. Except mine. I didn't say anything. But I noticed. I always notice. That might have been the moment. The fracture. Not the words. Not the meeting. But the pour. How she bypassed my glass. And smiled like it meant nothing. Maybe we outgrew each other. Maybe we just outgrew the story we told about each other. Either way, she got to frame it as evolution. And I got to sit in the draft. I think what hurts the most is knowing she still thinks she was kind. Like the quiet way she left was gentler than conflict. Like ghosting wrapped in healing language. Isn't still ghosting. Just in a prettier font. She told someone, not me obviously, that she didn't want to center her own guilt in someone else's pain. Which sounds smart. Sounds careful. But mostly sounds like someone who didn't want to be uncomfortable. So she chose silence and slides. I watched her on a panel once. After everything. Talking about rupture and repair. Using words we used to say in our living rooms. Like incantations. Words that meant something when they were whispered between friends. Not blasted into curated captions and story highlights. She said, sometimes repair isn't about returning, it's about redefining. And the crowd nodded. Like she'd dropped some sacred gem. I wanted to laugh. Or maybe scream. Because we never redefined. She just left. Maya asked me why it still hurts. Why I still scroll to her page in the dark. Even after all this time. And I told her. Because when someone calls you sister, and then writes you out of the story, it rearranges your sense of self. I used to think we were building something together. Now I wonder if I was just a draft. A version she edited out before publication. I found the playlist she made me. The Angry Girl Autumn one. Still saved on my Spotify. Track 2 was Mitski. Track 5 was Solange. Track 9 was just titled Burn. I listened to it on a train ride. Watching my reflection in the window. Blurry and too close. And I cried. Not because I missed her, but because I missed the version of myself who thought love and solidarity always meant the same thing. There was a retreat once. Upstate. We shared a bed. Whispered late. Ate too many chips. She braided my hair in the morning. Called me her soft place. And I remember thinking, God, we're gonna do this for years. Like build a life. Not romantic. But something more committed than most relationships I'd ever had. And now, I can't even say her name out loud, without it catching in my throat. A mutual sent me her new project, a series on healing through rupture, and said, you two are always so aligned, this feels like something you'd love. I didn't reply. There are nights I still draft messages to her. Not to fix it. Just to say, I saw what you posted. I know it was about me. I just wish you'd said it to me. But I never send them. Because I don't want to be the girl still aching. When she's already moved on to better language. And better lighting. Sometimes I see her on someone else's story. Laughing. Holding a mug. Wearing soft sweaters and looking backlit. Like closure. And I wonder if she ever thinks of me. If there's a version of this where she's not proud of how it ended. If she ever whispers, I could have done that differently. I'll never know. I'm learning how to mourn people who are still alive. Still posting. Still getting tagged. Still talking about growth. I'm learning that grief doesn't always come from death. Sometimes it comes from soft erasure, from being replaced by language, from watching someone walk away with the narrative in their hands. I wanted repair, not reconciliation, just acknowledgement. Something like, "You didn't imagine it. You weren't disposable. You mattered." But instead I got 3 slides, a pastel palette, and silence. The apology she posted wasn't for me. And maybe that's the clearest answer of all.